everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be all about my February products that I've used up as well as my purchases. I did decide in 2024 to do somewhat of a low buy, so I decided to just include that in my monthly empties and just keep myself accountable. So that's what we'll be doing today. I'll be going over all of my purchases as well as my empties, telling you if I liked them, if I would repurchase them. It's a little bit of a low bucket this month, which is actually kind of nice. But if that sounds good to you, if you like empty videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stick around. But with all that, let's just get started talking about these products. All right, so I think this month we're going to talk about my empties first and then my purchases second, because the last empties I did my purchases first. So we'll just kind of switch it up. I don't have that much to talk about, which is kind of nice. I've been working on getting through all of my deluxe samples, my minis, etc., and we're getting towards the end of that. So there's just less because I'm working on full sizes, which take longer to use up. I always break this down in a category. I think we'll start with makeup first because that's the most exciting. The least exciting makeup empty I have is this little sample here. This is from Laura Mercier. This was the Petal Soft Lipstick Crayon. So the crayon looks like this, and then it had 3 colors. It had the shades Ella, Louise, and Laura. I was able to use these samples quite a few times. I had to pin it shut so it would stay good. But I actually really enjoyed this formula. I usually don't talk about my foil samples. I just find they're a little bit too small. But because I was able to use this quite a few times and I really enjoyed the product, I wanted to mention it because even though I'm on a lipstick no buy for the unforeseeable future, this product actually is on my list to purchase. It's just a nice, soft, semi-matte, and it's very blurring on the lips. It was a really comfortable formula. I liked it a lot. It wasn't too opaque, too thick. You could build it up. Even this bright pink shade and this dark berry shade, which look very, at first it kind of intimidated me seeing the color swatch on the lips. Looked really, really nice. So I do plan on picking this up, and I'm glad I got a sample of it because if I didn't, I never would have tried this product. Other makeup empties, I have 2 brow products here. So these were both little samples. The first one being the Urban Decay Brow Endowed. It's like a brow gel, and it has a primer, and then it has a color gel on the other side. This did not take me very long to use up, 2 uses or something. And it was very difficult to use only because the spoolie is so small when you go to use it. So I would not repurchase this. Obviously, I can't get a full grasp on how well this product worked, but I wasn't impressed with the very few times I was able to use it. So just not interested. I also finished the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. This was also a sample, and it didn't come with a lid, which is odd, so I had to make sure to roll it down. This is what's left. There's a teeny tiny nub in there, but I can't really use it. I just decided to call it quits. This is the shade 3. I was able to use this for a couple months. I don't really use too much brow product, so it lasted me quite a long time. Typically, I stick with the ABH Brow Wiz in medium brown, and I found shade 3 to just be a little bit warm for my brows. I probably would go up if I was going to repurchase this. Going back to some videos I watched, I just didn't like how my brows looked, the shade specifically. So this wasn't a bad product. I didn't like the shade, and I like my ABH more. So I probably wouldn't repurchase this, being quite honest. I have what works and I'm happy with that. I finally opened up another ABH Brow Wiz and I'm using that, and it just works so much better for me. 3 more makeup empties. I have a full-size primer, which is amazing. I've kind of been working on this in between Project Pan primers, Shop My Stash primers, because I knew I only had a little bit left. This is the Makeup Forever Step 1, and this is the hydrating primer. I've gone through, I think this is my third one. I used to really love this when I was 18, 19. This was like the only primer I would use, but my preference is now I just don't really like a hydrating primer like I used to. I don't live in Arizona anymore when my skin was much more dry. So I really don't have a use for this, and I don't plan on repurchasing it, quite honestly, but there was a time when I really enjoyed the Makeup Forever primers. Now, a product that I finished today that I'm wearing, everything that I'm wearing is always listed down in the description box below, but I was really happy to just finish this off today. This is a little travel deluxe sample of the Becca Hydro Powder. I took the sifter out and everything. Powders take me forever to finish. I just don't use a lot of powder. I'm really using it to just kind of set my creams a little bit, and even then sometimes I'll just avoid my cheeks. So despite this only being 0.05 ounces, 1.5 grams, this took me months and months and months to use up. I even tried to use this as like a touch-up powder sometimes, even though like I needed a touch-up powder, but it wasn't like anyone was really seeing me, so it was kind of pointless just to like use this up. I would use this. And my last makeup empty is this Too Faced Hangover RX Pillow Balm Lip Treatment. It does take me a while to go through lip products too. I am just a light-handed makeup person, so I like see other people who are going through things at such a faster pace, and I try not to compare myself. But I would use this multiple times a day, and it took me, again, just months. This is the original one, and it's just a travel size. I really like this. It's supposed to be a little bit plumping, but I don't find it to be overly plumping. The main thing with this is that I actually notice that it retains the moisture in my lips when I use this. I don't feel like my lips get drier and drier the more that I use this. So I really do like it. I took the stopper out. I know it looks like there's product in there, but I really did scrape as much as I could out of there. I even took like a little spatula, but in this corner specifically, I just wasn't able to get it out. I would repurchase this. I quite like this. I like this and the Lawless Forget the Filler. I find them to be very similar. This is just a little bit more of a lip treatment. It's a little bit thicker than the Lawless Forget the Filler. So I would use this more nighttime as a specific lip treatment, and the Lawless maybe like during the day in my purse, etc. But those are all my makeup empties. Let's quickly do my two little fragrance samples. I try to use my fragrance samples as I get them in. So I have the Guerlain Tobacco Honey. I got this when I purchased the Guerlain Concealer, which I did a review on. It'll be linked above and below. I do not like tobacco scents. And really that just has to do with me. Like my dad used to smoke and we're not close. So it kind of is just like a nostalgic scent in a bad way. Tobacco scents just don't do it for me. The second one that I have is the Erin Mediterranean Honeysuckle Clementine. I don't know how I got this. It just showed up somewhere and I was like, okay, I'll use this. I still have a whole box of fragrance samples, but for some reason this just ended up on my desk. I used it up. It's okay, much more fruity as the, name would suggest. I don't think I would repurchase this. I don't know this brand at all. Erin, A-E-R-I-N. If you've heard of this, let me know. Don't know this fragrance house at all. So it was okay. I enjoyed using it while I had it, but nothing spectacular that gave me a mental note that I need to look into this. Moving right along to hair care, I just have two little samples here. Both of these are shampoos. So one of this is the Carol's Daughter Wash Day Delight Water to Foam Shampoo. This was like very interesting. Again, like the name suggests, it really was a watery shampoo. Never used anything like this. Would not use it again because I felt like I overused it because I felt like I wasn't getting enough shampoo, but then it like foamed up. So I really didn't like this. The other shampoo I used, this is the Chlorane shampoo, like an anti-irritating. This is all in French. So I'm assuming I got this as a sample at the pharmacy or something in France. No idea, but I didn't like this either. I found this actually kind of stripped my hair. I get about 5 uses out of a little thing like this, so I feel like I get enough. I don't have any conditioners this month because I am trying to get through my hair masks that are in foil samples, and like I said, I don't include those in these empties, so that's why I don't have any conditioners, but this was not that great. Few nail care items. I have this cuticle butter that is from Bee's Knees Lacquer. I have so many backups of these that I need to get serious about my cuticle care so I can finally get them out of here. This was the scent Feeling Pine, so it was very evergreen scented, and I do love this formula. It's really nice cuticle cream. It's very thick. It doesn't feel like just your typical average lotion, because in that case, just use a lotion. I do like that this is very thick. It kind of has like some grip to it, some wax, but it doesn't feel waxy on your skin. It sinks in pretty quickly, so you don't feel like you can't use your hands. I do really like this. Like I said, I have probably 10 of these still waiting to be used up, so I'm gonna crack into my next one, and I can usually finish about one of these a month if I stay dedicated to it. I also have a cuticle oil. This was in the scent Sangria. It smelled amazing. It smelled exactly like sangria. It was just a small little roller ball. The only issue is I have no idea what brand this is because it's not on the container. I know it's an indie brand because I typically purchase my nail care stuff from indie companies when I was really hyper fixated on indie nail polish. So I know this came from an indie brand, don't know which one, but just, you know, a PSA to all you small businesses out there, like put the name of your company on the component because people like me just are not going to remember where this came from. Then the last, this is kind of like a body care, nail care. This is the Stella Chroma Sugar Scrub. Technically, Stella Chroma is a brand made for nails. They kind of have a nail polish line as well. You're supposed to use this sugar scrub when you give yourself a manicure, but I don't really use it that way. I just threw it in my shower, used it as a normal body scrub. Because of that, the sugar particles were a little bit thicker, more crystallized. They had a lot of grit to them. This is in the scent Champagne Pomegranate. It was really nice, but do I need this? No. I just need to find a simple body scrub brand here in France that I can rely on because they don't have Tree Hut, which I know is the really popular one in the US. That's like inexpensive. They don't have that here. So I just kind of need to find one that works for me. And I've officially finished up all of my body scrubs, so now I can try some European brands. But that just leaves us now with skincare. Let's start with these. So I actually have a third one of these in the shower. When I go through deluxe samples, etc., I try to use all the same ones if I have multiples before talking about it. I have about half of one left in the shower before I go to my next cleanser, so I decided to talk about it now, and that one I'll just toss once I finish it. But let me tell you what this is. It's the Tula, the Cult Classic Purifying Face Cleanser. Each of these was 1 fluid ounce, so I had 3 fluid ounces, and I think that I have my thoughts on these. You know, for a gel cleanser, this is nice, but I've mentioned before multiple times, I don't typically love a gel cleanser, so it's just not my favorite because of that. But for a gel cleanser, like, it could be worse. It is really nice. Tula can be more on the pricey side, so I doubt I would repurchase this, or even like if I was really in the need to buy something, I probably wouldn't purchase this. I'd go with CeraVe or something like that if I was in a pinch and needed something, but I liked it while I used it. I had 2 of these. I don't know where the other one went. This is the Dr. Jart Ceramid Creme, and this was 10 milliliters, so not that big. Like I said, I had 2 of them. I actually really like this line, this Ceramidin line from Dr. Jart. I had a full size one of these creams before, and I also had a full size of this line in the toner, and I went through both of them like years ago. And quite honestly, like I would repurchase it. It's really nice. I just kind of forgot about it. Other things came into my life, so it just left my brain. But this reminded me how much I enjoy this. It's a really simple moisturizer, but it's ultra hydrating. It's really great in the mornings especially, so no complaints about this. This Chanel Sublimage La Creme, I got this when I made a Chanel order holiday time, I think. And I've gone through multiples of these. It's an okay cream. I would never buy like a luxury makeup brand skincare because I feel like most of the money is just going towards the name. But I'm always happy, like I pick the samples out when I order from Chanel. So I picked this, I like it, I just wouldn't purchase it. 3 more items. I have the Origins Ginseng. This is the Into the Glow Brightening Serum. This was okay. Actually, no, I didn't like this at all. It was, you know, like mid-tier. I didn't notice it doing anything. It was nice to put on the skin, but I didn't notice any effects from this. I was able to use this quite a few times, like regardless of how small this looks, it actually, I at least was able to use this like 2 weeks. This is a very, very concentrated sample. So yeah, no, would not repurchase. This is also another little sample. This is the Drunk Elephant Luxury Facial Oil. This is 3 milliliters. It was pretty small. I believe I got this like as a set when I purchased the Drunk Elephant Baby Facial. Like they kind of advertises using this after the baby facial. And I just want to get all my facial oils out. I kind of have my preference as far as like an ultra hydrating nighttime balm that I use, and it's not an oil. So I just saw this in my drawer of skincare and decided to get it out of there. So I would not repurchase this. And the last thing I have is this Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow PHA BHA Pore Tight Toner. This lasted quite a while. I actually really like it. I, you know, just like everyone else, love this watermelon Jolly Rancher scent, so I have no complaints about this. Once I actually used this up though, I rolled in my Glow Recipe Niacinamide drops in its place, and I believe, I mean, I'm still working through that, but I like that more than this. So I would purchase that over this, but it wasn't terrible. Like if you use this all the time, let me know, do you see an effect from it? This is 40 milliliters, so it had quite a bit in here, and I didn't hate it, but yeah, again, like it doesn't stick out in my mind as something I have to run and replace. So that was all of my empties that I used up in February. Now we're going to talk about my purchases. So really quickly, let's just go over kind of my rules for my low buy. I'm only doing 4 months at a time. This is really the first time I've done a low buy, no buy type situation. So I'm just trying to see what works for me, and things might adjust as needed. I'm going to put up like a list of my rules kind of in bullet point form, but essentially I'm allowing myself 3 purchases per month. 1 purchase from eyeshadow, 1 purchase in a complexion product, meaning bronzer, blush, and highlight, and 1 purchase from a base product, meaning foundation, concealer, because that is my favorite product genre to review. So 3 purchases per month, and purchases don't roll over, meaning if I don't buy an eyeshadow palette in January, I can't buy 2 in February. It's just really 3 per month. And gifts don't count unless it's something that I'm specifically asking. We have that situation here, so I'll explain a little bit more, but that's really it. I didn't want to come up with like a ton of rules. Like I said, I'm still exploring this and just seeing what works for me. My main goal with my low buy is to just take a step back from impulsive shopping and try to be a little bit more mindful on what I am purchasing and what I'm bringing into my collection, and try to, because it kind of gets to be a routine where when you're impulsively shopping, like you just buy. And so I'm trying to get myself more into the habit of taking a step back. That's why this is not going to last necessarily forever. It's just until I feel like I have a hold on the impulsiveness of shopping. So let's talk about my purchases. The first thing I want to talk about is actually something from January. I filmed my January empties before the end of the month, and I was very proud of myself because I only bought a bronzer and I used a gift card, and then I only bought a concealer, and that was like my birthday present, but I did ask for that. So I was proud of myself, and I was ranting and raving that I didn't buy an eyeshadow palette in January, especially because that's my birthday month. I thought it was going to be one of the harder months. And then at the end of the month, like the 28th or something, 26th, Beauty Bay came out with their Reckless Romance palette, and I ended up picking this up because it was pretty inexpensive. I've never tried Beauty Bay before, so I do have a dedicated video on this, which I will link above and below. And, you know, no regrets, mostly just regrets on just talking about how proud of myself I was to not purchase an eyeshadow palette in January. And then I went and did it anyways. So now, lesson learned, I will make sure that the month is completely over before filming my empties and purchases video, because I don't want to, the following month, to continue to be like, oh, I actually did use all 3 of my purchases. So there's that one. But now for actually February's purchase, I only purchased 1 thing, and then I got 2 things as a gift for Valentine's Day. And these I'm not counting because I did not ask for them specifically. So let's just talk about them. They were items that I wanted. My husband and I, you know, Sephora is not close to here. So when we are out in town, which is about an hour away, the nearest Sephora, we'll go in, I'll see what's new, etc. And so he sees what I have on my list, right? So for Valentine's Day, he did pick up this Tom Ford fragrance for me, which was so nice. This is the Cafe Rose, which I've been wanting for a really, really long time. And he actually didn't like the scent of it, but I really do. For me, it's like a sophisticated, mature floral. So I'm really happy to have this. This is like the big one too, the 3.4 ounces. So it's gonna go back there on my little fragrance shelf, and I'm very, very happy to have it. And then the second thing that he purchased for me, we actually had to return. He purchased the YSL bronzer that he knew that I wanted, but he purchased the shade 1, and I really wanted the shade 2. I didn't think that shade 1 just looked way, way too light. So we went back to Sephora later on to exchange it, and the YSL bronzer is now like completely sold out, could not get it. So we exchanged it for this. However, I'm still not counting it, even though I picked it out, because originally when he went to Sephora, he was going to purchase these 2 items for me, but they didn't have the Chanel quad, so he ended up going with the YSL bronzer as a backup. So it all worked out in the end. Does that make sense? Anyways, this is the limited edition. I don't know if this came out for winter or when it came out. I saw it in Sephora and I thought it was really beautiful. I saw it was limited edition. This is 388 Eclat de Nuit, and I haven't used this yet. I've kind of been waiting, but here's what it looks like. I'm very happy to have this. So it's like a very just cool toned, smoky eye look. I mean, I think if you've watched my channel for a while, you know this is right up my alley. This is more of like a navy black. It's kind of a black. It's kind of a black, and then you have like this shimmery silver, but then you have like these really pretty taupes here. So I'm really excited to use this, have this. It wasn't something I needed per se, but I'm happy to have it regardless. And it was a really nice surprise, because usually I just pick out my gift, quite honestly. He'll just be like, okay, buy something for yourself for Valentine's Day, which sounds like super unromantic, but him and I are always together. And I know that probably is like hard for some couples, but as I mentioned, we live in France, and you know, I'm dual citizen, so I speak okay French, but he doesn't speak any French. So we're always together when we go out, because usually I'm translator. So There was one time he had to go out by himself because there were some visa issues he had to do and I was not able to join him, and he stopped at Sephora on the way back to pick me up this gift. So it actually just means more to me that he even did that, because I know it was like a lot of trouble for him. We live in a small town. It's not like we live in Paris where many people speak English. So he really had to like put in a lot of effort to try and find these items for me. The Sephora people apparently were not helpful. He kept saying that he wanted the new YSL product and they kept telling him that there was nothing new from YSL. And he's like, I know there's something new. So it meant a lot to me that he even went out to do this, which is why I'm not counting it, because like I said, he picked it out for me and it wasn't something that he gave me his card and I made a purchase. So those were my gifts. And then the one purchase that I actually made in February, which I don't have yet, I'm still waiting on, is the Ensley Rain Groovy Gardens eyeshadow palette. I just could not resist that palette. The tones look so beautiful. I'm really just into this desaturated, kind of warm tone leaning eyeshadow looks, which sounds very strange for me, but I'm kind of hoping for some sun is what I'm thinking. So I'm dipping my toes into wanting some warm tones, but there's like a very specific kind where it's desaturated. I'll pop up a picture of what that palette looks like, but I'm very excited to receive it because I also have the Cold Moon palette and the Lands of Enchantment palette that came out during holiday time. And I'm thinking of doing 3 looks with each of those palettes and then doing a video on it. So let me know if that sounds interesting to you. I've done that before with Glaminatrix. I did that 9 looks in one video. It's a lot of work, but it's also fun to just see what each palette can do and kind of condense it down to one video. So those were all of my empties and my purchases for February. I'm feeling pretty positive going into March as far as purchasing. I do feel like it's getting easier for me to hold back. There have been a lot of releases that I've wanted, a lot of new brands that I've been wanting to try, but instead of just, instantly purchasing them, I really wanted the Terra Moons collection. They came out with like 2 6-pans. Instead of just like instantly buying it, now I have a list on my notes app. I kind of keep a list going of what I want and then just kind of compare and look and see what is actually worth picking up that's a little bit different in my collection. So it's getting easier. Definitely, like there are some times, especially at night, like that's my trouble spot. Like when you're just doom scrolling and you just see all the new makeup releases, part of me just wants to like purchase, but every day is a new day. So we just take it day by day and hopefully, the urges start to go down a little bit, but the gifts definitely help ease that a little bit, and we'll see what March brings. April, I'll really be gone for that whole month. That's why I'm doing it for 4 months. I'll be volunteering at a dog rescue, so I'm not too worried about April, but we'll see what March brings because I know that there's going to be a lot of spring palettes launching, and we're just going to get like a really big refresh of products and what we've been seeing. So I'm a little bit worried about that, but still optimistic. Let me know down below if you're doing a low buy, if you're trying to just rein in your purchases a little bit. I love to hear your strategies on how you cope with that, all the products that you finished up, if you're really trying to just get through your hoard of products like I am. Let me know all your thoughts down below, but this is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.